My name's Mary Kirsch. I am an artist by profession. I went vegan in 1988 because I read the book by John Robbins, Diet for a New America.
Was there anything that happened prior to that that might have got you primed up for becoming vegan, or was it just the book?
Oh goodness, like the seeds planted?
Yeah.
Always there. Yes, I witnessed my dad murder a tuna on his commercial fishing boat, and that had a huge effect on me. I've always loved animals. I've always had pets. Then after reading that book, I realized those sweet, gentle animals were just like our pets. That was it. That's all I needed to know. Didn't have to watch a video, didn't have to watch anything extreme. I read about it and I knew it was going to be okay for me not to eat them. So.
But you say you haven't had to watch anything extreme, but you've seen some pretty extreme things. And how old were you again? And what were you doing when your dad was?
Oh, I was 14.
Yeah.
When I grew up on a fishing boat, so I always watched him. I never really liked fishing. I would just go off somewhere else and read a book. But I was a deckhand. So it was just that particular day. Everybody was cheering on board. Everybody was freaking out. It was to celebrate this big tuna that they were going to make so much money on. And I witnessed something really horrific. That tuna fought for his or her life. In every way that you and I would feel pain, it felt all the pain. And I felt it. I saw it. I felt it, that it wanted to live. I mean, it was just like as if it was me up there. It would have been the same.
It's something you did on a regular basis. Your dad would go fishing, you would go with him, but on this particular day things were maybe different. So kind of set the stage for all this a little bit.
My dad was a commercial fisherman, and I was always a deckhand. I grew up doing that. I was the one that would navigate, take the helm. I was always the one on the bow, lassoing whatever I had to get out there and tie the boat up to. I was, just a kid helping the family out to make money.
Didn't you have to clean the fish too sometimes?
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. So there was just dying fish all over the deck all the time. They're laying around. I was the one that had to go cut them up, clean them up, gut them, scale them. There's worms, full of worms too, by the way.
Yes.
It's pretty gross. Yeah, those fish are full of worms.
like what kind of worms?
I mean,
like
it was the kind of
something?
thing. Yeah, parasites all up in the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever cut up on a fish that didn't have them. It was normal. Then my dad would always just say, you just cook it out. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think nothing of it. I ate it. Yeah.
So what was different about this day, this fish? I mean, you've done this before, right? So many times.
Well, it was because everybody was cheering because the fish was so big. And there were other people on board, and they were just cheering. So I went to the chair where my dad was fighting the fish. There's a fighting chair.
And you shared with me earlier that you had this connection you felt like with...
Oh, that fish knew that I was the only one that cared. It looked at me. It knew that I cared, and I did try to stop my dad. I was screaming, yelling, top of my lungs up there, trying to stop it. The other men on board were taking me away, but I was fighting all I could, and they still killed it. And then I vowed to myself, never again. I'm not going again. I don't care. I'm not going. I'm not doing it. And that was that. I was lucky I had the dad that didn't make me do it anymore. Then that was good. He didn't make me go anymore. Didn't like it, but he didn't make me either.
And then all this time passed before you ever got that book, right? And
All the time. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So what
I
made,
never ate tuna again, though. I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. Mm-mm.
what made you get that book?
I know, that is so, I don't really remember why I picked that book up. I was always interested in health. I was an aerobics teacher. I started teaching aerobics when I was only 18, and I was kind of interested in health and fitness and taking care of myself. And it read Diet for a New America. I thought I already ate pretty healthy. I had no idea it was about that. So I started reading it, and in the very beginning, it's John Robbins, and he's the heir to the Baskin Robbins, of which I loved, by the way, Baskin Robbins ice cream, And so I think I read it because I actually really loved Baskin Robbins ice cream. And I was like, oh, okay, what does he have to say about this? And I think I read it in a day.
Oh wow, the whole book in there.
Well, I was that fascinated with it. I just couldn't believe what I was reading. It was something I had never really thought of before.
What kind of epiphanies did you have, or realizations?
The epiphany was that I've been lied to. And that really pissed me off. That I've been lied to my whole life.
What do you mean?
By society.
About
What we see on TV, what we eat. That it's okay to have factory farms, and I was lied to about the nutrition aspects of dairy. I was lied to, oh my gosh, I was lied to about everything, and it just started to open my eyes about the animal cruelty. And I can tell you right now that if I had known that there was that much animal cruelty on my plate, no. I saw the animal cruelty. I thought it was very cruel the way they killed that tuna on the fishing boat. Saw it right there in front of me. And then I learned that every other animal that ended up on my plate was just as brutally killed and fought for their life every bit as that tuna did. And I just wasn't going to have it anymore. Of course, when I stopped eating it, everyone told me I was going to die. I said, okay, good. But here I am. I didn't exactly die. But everyone told me I would. And I agreed with and said, okay, good, well, that's fine.
Did you worry that you might get sick or something?
I just didn't. In my young mind, I knew I was going to not go to the meat department anymore. So I remember going to my local grocery store, which in New Orleans, we had fabulous grocery stores there, by the way. And we have a lot of wonderful produce. It's very available there. I looked at the produce section. I remember standing there going, well, this is it. Here we are. And this is going to be from what I eat now. The rice is over there. We got beans, we got nuts, we got seeds. And then all of this right here. No one really told me that this was going to be hard. I was told I was going to die, but I didn't really have the whole, oh, it's so expensive, oh, it's so hard. To me, it wasn't expensive because I was buying fruits and vegetables instead of meat, which was a lot cheaper anyway. And I didn't have to put the nasty ass sausage in my red beans anymore. That was kind of freeing because I didn't like it anyway. All that grease, but I ate it because I thought I had to. Being from New Orleans, red beans and rice with sausage. So I was kind of glad I wouldn't have to buy that anymore, and it's expensive. So it's like, okay, cool. To me, it tasted better.
So what kind of challenges did you have after becoming vegan?
We didn't call it vegan back then. I didn't even know how to explain it. I'm not eating animal flesh. No, I don't want to eat chicken periods, and I don't want to eat milk from a cow. So that's basically how I thought of it. And I thought of it as those few ingredients are just something I'm not going to eat anymore because I don't want to. I have all this other stuff. And instead of eating that, I just eat more of something else. Duh.
So you didn't really have any challenges, it sounds like.
I didn't see it that way. Because in my mind, I had everything else. So what? You don't have, a chicken's leg. I have all of this. I looked at the produce section. I didn't see it as lack. I didn't see it as doing without. I saw it as, well, all right, instead of that, I'm going to just eat this. Only way I thought about it. It was never in a negative way. It was never coming from a feeling of lack or even a challenge. It was like, what's this right here?
Did you notice anything different after becoming vegan, whether it's physical?
Oh man, I was an aerobics teacher, and I was the aerobics teacher at the prime time. So I did all the advanced classes. I had more energy 2 or 3 months into it, and everyone thought I was going to die because I pretty much told everybody at that time, waiting for myself to just drop dead out of class. When am I going to be teaching this high impact aerobics class, jumping around? And I thought I was just going to suddenly just run out of energy and drop dead. I found myself being so energetic. I didn't know what to do with all my energy. I was more energetic than ever. That's when I found that I actually got energy, not less.
Any other changes?
I used to be real sickly. I was already pretty fit, so didn't see myself losing weight or anything, but I really did get less sick. Rarely got sick. And I didn't have vegan junk food back then. There was really not a whole lot of processed vegan junk. I eat a lot more vegan junk now because it's there than I did back then. I mean, now it's like, oh yeah, great, okay. But back then I didn't have it. Started eating basically whole food. And I definitely felt the benefits.
So you said you were sickly.
I was sickly, yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh, colds all the time, bronchitis all the time, a lot of bronchitis.
How frequent is it now?
Can't tell you, I haven't had bronchitis. If I get a cold, it's so short now.
What's the most important reason for you to be vegan right now?
The animals. I mean, to me, it's the animals. It's always been about that. So I just, if I can have a cruelty-free life, then I would choose that over putting an animal through something just for me. And the moment I learned that was the moment I put it down and started to make a better choice. I mean, you know better, you do better. And so once I started to know better, after just reading that first book, took it from there.
What are some common questions you get when people find out you're vegan throughout the years?
I mean, basically, it's what do you eat? It's just what do you eat? Yeah. I mean, that's, to me, the dumbest question ever, too. I eat everything. I just don't eat a few ingredients, which, the ingredients that you think are so important, but I eat everything else. The ingredients of chickens, pigs, cows, turkeys, lambs, fish, I just don't put that in my food. But everything else, all the spices, everything. I mean, everything that tastes good, Because, I mean, if you just don't use any kind of plant-based spice on a piece of cow, doesn't taste good, So I use all those wonderful, beautiful ingredients, herbs, spices.
Define veganism.
Well, it's just quite simple. It's living your life best you can without doing harm to animals. Best you can. It's not perfect, but it's definitely all about the animals. Being vegan. Plant-based is totally different.
How do you encourage others to be vegan?
Everybody I know is not vegan, of course, but boy, there's quite a few of them who are vegan because of me. Well, shoot, man, tell the truth. That's how. Just when you tell people the truth and make them realize that they've been lied to. Most people I know love animals, just like I do. And when you know what you're doing to the animals, and there's a way not to, that's how I encourage. Look, you know, we could do better. You know, you can eat just as well. You can buy products that don't have the animals just as well, just as easy. I'm pretty straight up. I don't have to like go beating around in the bush or...
Was there anything in particular that you found to be more impactful or effective when it comes to encouraging others?
Everybody's different. So the thing that is most effective is know your audience. Know who you're talking to, and maybe figure out a way that's going to connect with them.
Hey, there's a train coming by. You want to tell me something about this train coming by?
So I've lived here a year, and little did I know when I moved in, I knew there was a train. I thought, oh gosh, so cool. Trains, I love trains. Well, every day, now that I know, it's twice a day, 2 trains full of animals, and I've counted, you can really hear them. I've counted over 100 cars, train cars of animals before. I can't count, I felt on my knees crying, I couldn't deal with it. But this is what I live with every day, seeing those animals taken to their slaughter.
And so sometimes you'll hear a train and you know it's that particular train, right?
Oh, I know.
How do you know that, how can you hear the difference?
Well, when you live here and you hear something over and over again every single day, certain trains sound, they all have their particular sound. I know when the Amtrak train is passing, you know, there was a people train, there goes the animal train.
And you found out where it was going too, didn't you?
I did. It was a slaughterhouse. And I actually found the slaughterhouse where it stops, not too far.
And you described it as like concrete labyrinth of sorts?
Yeah, so the train stops right there, and they unload the animals literally right into the slots, or these, you know, they just herd them straight in to their death. They just go straight in. It's not a very big place, so those animals are not kept there for long. They go basically from the train to being slaughtered.
And it's in a community too, right?
And right in the middle of, they've built around.
And it's both cows and pigs. Is that what you?
I've only seen on these trains cows and pigs.
You said 100 cars, and each one.
I've counted 100, and then I fell to my knees crying. I just couldn't even count anymore. There were so many.
Wow, that's.
I bawled my eyeballs out. It was so sad.
That is a long train.
That was a very long train. Well, they're like that. Just thousands of animals, thousands on those trains.
Okay.
There's a few times when I've been close enough, and if the train is going slow enough, then I can see what's in there. But if it's sometimes whizzing by so fast, you can't really see what's in there, you know?
Yeah.
But it's gone slow enough before, and I can see the animals in there.
And you said that you want to look, and you don't.
Oh, everybody
say,
all my friends say, don't look, don't look. Why do you look at that? Why do you pay attention to that? I want to cry.
Why do you do that?
Because I don't want to deny them. I just don't want to deny them. What if I was on that train and no one would recognize or ignore me because what they saw was painful? It's painful. Painful to see it. I think about their pain.
Is it kind of like when you were looking at the tuna fish?
Just know what they're going to go. I mean, how scared are they on those trains? I mean, there's no fucking unicorns on, looking out, no little baby cherub angels looking out for them. It's evil. And when when you don't look or you want to ignore. Would you want to be ignored? Probably not.
So this kind of goes back to some of the challenges that you've had. Could this be one of those challenges? You know, maybe being a little more emotional about things like this than other people?
I was emotional about people killing animals if I saw animal cruelty as a child. Why would that change? The challenge to me is the way people want to ignore it. That's the biggest challenge. Like, why? Why ignore that?
This reminds me of, like, you were telling me when you were a child, you didn't like seeing people abuse animals or other people. And
Yeah, nobody does.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there was always the mean kids who were going to do that, you know, and I was always the one to defend those animals and speak up for them. I had never had a problem speaking up for it. I was never that kid to sit down and let it happen. Mm-hmm. So I guess it just honor myself. If I say I love animals, I love animals. And why would I not defend those animals? The gentlest, kindest of animals are on our plates.
Mm-hmm. Told me about a time when there was a bully that you hit with what was it?
Oh goodness. Are you going to show how mean I am? Well, yeah, there was a neighborhood kid being mean to animals, and it was back in the 60s, you know, and kids were thrown outside and there was no parental supervision ever. So, yeah, kid was being mean to kittens, putting firecrackers. I hope he sees this too, because he knows who he is. Putting firecrackers in kittens' butts and blowing them up. And I took a metal pipe, knocked his knees out, literally.
Wasn't there other people there?
Yeah, nobody did anything but me.
That's crazy.
Nobody, everybody thought it was funny. So,
wow.
But throughout my life, I've seen, you know, some mean people, but I always speak up. So, you know, people, you know, they have dogs and cats. And I thought the most challenging thing is I know some genuinely beautiful people who love their animals, their animals that they live with, their pets. They just don't make the connection that those chickens, cows, pigs, lambs, turkeys are the same. The same. That's the biggest challenge to me. It breaks my heart. And they don't want to hear it. They say, oh, Mary, don't talk about it. You know, that's one thing we just won't talk about. Let's just not talk about that. I don't agree with them, though. I say, well, you know, you're not going to tell me what to talk about, for one. You're not ever going to dim my light by telling me what I can and can't talk about. I said, whatever put it in me to feel this way, it's the way I feel. And I don't care who you are, you're not going to shut me up. You know, you have the choice, I guess, not to be my friend or not to be around me, but shut me up just to be your friend? No thanks, I'm good.
And that sounds more like also it could fit under how you encourage others. You're not going to acquiesce to somebody trying
animal
to dim your
cruelty?
light. Yeah.
I don't fucking acquiesce to animal cruelty, no. I'm not going to. Sorry. I mean, why? Why would I acquiesce to someone who, you know, I hit the kid in the shins with a metal pipe. I'm not going to do it anymore. I was a kid. I mean, I was like in 2nd grade when I did that. But when you grow up and you realize that's illegal to do stuff like that. But
why is it important for others to be vegan? Because sometimes people say
okay,
to each his own, you know?
Live and let live. That's my favorite, live and let live. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good idea, live and let live. Right?
Yeah.
To each his own, exactly. That animal that you just ate, to each, you know, would like to be its own. You know, that animal that you just ate would like to live. So live and let live, to each his own. There you go. Won't you going to tell me to do that? And what, you're not doing it? Okay. You know? So why is it important for others to be vegan? Is that your question?
Yeah.
That's so funny because, you know, you're asking me a question that seems so obvious, but it's hard to answer. I want to say duh, because how the smart ass I am. Duh. Why did you need to ask me that? It's important for others to be vegan because you can. It's good for you, it's good for the animals, it's good for the environment. It's a win-win all around, man. I just, you know, don't get if you're able to make a choice in cruelty or not. Because I mean, most people are not going to hit their dog or, you know, I mean, I know so many people who love their animals and they're not going to harm them. But so why are you harming the sweetest of animals just because they are in a factory farm or on Farmer John's nice organic farm, as if that's any different?
Now you said you had some family or you have some family members that are hunters or used to be hunters, right? Is that true?
Oh, well, I grew up in a hunting and fishing family. I mean, South Louisiana, that's what we do. You know, I was definitely the oddball, I could tell you that.
So how do you deal with family members during the holidays then?
I cook. They don't bring meat into my house. Or if I am at my mom's or my sister's, my daughter and I cook. We fix everything for everybody. And it's completely vegan. I don't acquiesce to it, to them wanting to bring a dead turkey to sit on our table.
And have your relatives been okay with that?
Well, yeah. They can't wait for my dinner. And now that I have my little protege vegan junior chef over here, oh, they really can't wait. I mean, it's a feast. It's delicious. No, I can't wait. And they look forward to it. I can't wait to have Aunt Mary's food.
And you have some success stories too, right?
Well, I have nephews that, you know, gave me all the hunting excuses like the deer population and, oh Lord, you know, it's the deer population, all those dumb excuses that they would give me. And I didn't shut up about it, I guess, you know. And I said to my favorite nephew, I love him so much. And when he would sit there and tell me these things, I will say at least he was open-minded enough to hear me out. So one day he said he was up in a deer stand and buck stood in front of him and he was ready to shoot that buck, but all he heard was Auntie Mary's voice. He called me up and said, Auntie, I don't hunt anymore because all I do is hear your annoying voice right there in my head about, you know, only a psychopath would kill something so beautiful and want it dead and celebrate its death when I know damn straight I could take the thousands of dollars that I spend on all of this hunting gear because I know I'm not doing it because I need to put food on my family. And I had to get real with myself. He said I was real with myself. I enjoyed it. I just went out there, killed animals because I thought it was fun. But he said he couldn't justify it anymore because annoying Auntie Mary. We joke about it now, but the rest of the family would just, oh, you know, why do you want to argue? Oh, Mary, she's just all argumentative and contrary and
It's so important to help people realize what they're doing because they don't apparently realize it, right? So isn't it important for people to speak like you're doing? I mean, do you feel like it's effective to be a voice for the animals or just merely live as an example?
No, it's important to be a voice. And don't shut up. Live your truth. Yeah, they only want to shut us up because they're uncomfortable. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. Everybody wants to be okay with doing the wrong thing. That's all it is. And they don't want you to say anything about it. So you don't cause that disturbance. you know. I know that there's been some people who were animate about never, ever do without eating animals. And lo and behold, there they are.
Now, you raised your daughter vegan. How did you know it would be safe to raise your daughter vegan?
I was vegan when I got pregnant. So baby grew inside of me perfectly fine. And golly, she was like 9 pounds, 22 inches long. And I full term pregnancy. She was born on her due date. So I didn't have any problems. Because all of those myths that people believe are false. I know it's false.
What kind of challenges did you have raising a child vegan?
Well, society. Because when you raise a child vegan, they're gonna, eventually come from your little bubble, into elementary school, into, growing up, into other kids that are not raised this way. And so the challenge is going to be when they're presented with, the pepperoni pizza. And I had to prepare her for that. I didn't keep her from things. I didn't keep her from being with other people or around other people. But in an age-appropriate way, I told her why. And of course, I had to tell her in an age-appropriate way that it's, it's cruel to animals. And I also told her, there comes a time when I'm not around, and if you wanted to make that choice for yourself, but you're gonna know. So I really did let her know. Books and videos. I let her know what happens to the baby cows, what the mama cows go through. It was especially dairy, because people feed their children dairy. Goodness. People think you can't do without pizza. I knew that it would be easier for her with the animal flesh. It was probably the pizza parties and stuff like that. But I made sure Michaela always had her friends over enough over our house. There was no animal products in our house. So I made sure that she was always able to have, my house was the open kid house. It was a free-for-all. Come on, kids, and I always had food for them. My house was the house that every kid was in and out of. You don't want to be this person who makes your child feel like they have no choice. I've always kind of walked that line of, yes, Michaela, it's your choice. Giving her that choice, but it's going to be informed. So if you want to go make that choice, then here you go. Let's see what happens. Let's see what you're choosing. Just wanted her to make a completely informed choice. That was it. Age appropriate. Through the years, as she got older, friends came into play. They're out of your watchful eye, I guess, more as they're in school and their peers become the influence. I just let her know. It was could be traumatizing at times. It's not for like that. I think when she was in about 8th grade, I got her to watch Darius Scary. I love her. What's her name?
Aaron Jonas or something like that?
Love her.
Yeah.
So that, and I know it's a pretty brutal video for an 8th grader, but yeah, that's what I had her watch, Darius Scary. Yeah, and I knew that there was crap that she was going to eat, and I know she probably did. She wasn't fooling me too much. But in the end, a well-informed child will make the right choice.
Like, how do you know that they're not eating animals, like when they go to somebody else's house?
You don't know.
Yeah.
No, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of raising, with any human being, they're going to be their own person. Raising her vegan is just about educating her as to why. You know, why do we brush our teeth? It's the same thing. You raise your children with the beliefs that you have. I always wanted her to have nice teeth, so I got her to brush and floss her teeth from a very young age. And it was the same thing. I mean, I kind of looked at it like that. You raise your kids to, when you know better, you do better. So I knew I was doing her good with raising her in a compassionate lifestyle.
When they're going out to a friend's party or friend's house or school, is there like any special preparation there?
Oh, we certainly did talk about it. I always gave her things to eat. Actually, I don't know if she remembers this, but you know, when your kid's little, there's the freaking pizza parties. Everybody has a freaking pizza party. I taught Michaela early on, of course, how to make her own pizza, better than any pizza they ever had, but I would also let her bring it. She brought pizza to share with she didn't just bring it for herself, but I would prepare her by sending her. Luckily, most of the parents that Michaela was friends with were friends with me, and they already knew. So she didn't go really to many people's houses that I didn't know. I mean, I kind of knew all the parents anyway. All of them. I mean, never once did I send her actually off where I didn't know where she was going or who she was with. They all knew she was vegan. They knew I was vegan, so.
Did the other parents ever give you a hard time?
I mean, no. Why would they? I'd give them a hard time if they gave me a hard time. I mean, you know, I bite back.
Did you ever have to bite back?
Sure, with some friends I have, you know. Certain things I'm not gonna dim my light. They've tried. Say, yeah, you try that. Okay. Let's see how it works out.
Did you get any kind of like consulting with the doctor to make sure, you know, you're getting the right variety of foods or anything like that? Or how did you go about that?
Doctors.
Doctors and Goldfish.
I know. You know what? I mean, if I really said what I want to say about that.
Say it.
They're just not nutritionists. They're pill prescribers.
How did you know the proper variety of foods to feed a growing child?
Because I think that's also a myth. What it is amount of calories. You know, I mean, yeah, my kid got on Jags. There was a time that all she wanted was freaking potatoes, or all she wanted was whatever. Like every kid gets on a Jag.
What's a Jag?
Oh, that's all they want.
What is it?
Like all she would want was potatoes. Like if every meal didn't have a freaking potato, she wasn't happy. So.
She's like a McDougal.
Oh my God! She's called her Michaela Potato. How to deal with that?
No, I mean,
Okay, so I'll tell you how
to
to deal with it. I dealt with it. So
no, mostly the variety.
There's ways to do it. Oh, now she's going to know what I did. I don't know if I've ever said this in front of her. So let's just talk about, like, say, something that she likes. For instance, spaghetti and red sauce. Well, that red sauce wasn't just tomatoes. It had everything in it. It was just disguised. So you know those hand blenders? You just put zucchini, squash, mushrooms, eggplant, onions, garlic, of course celery. I mean, you name it, all kind of vegetables are in that red sauce. So she ate what I ate. Kids are going to eat when they're hungry, okay? So you just don't fuss over it. When your kid is hungry, they're going to eat what's on their plate. But if you've given your kids snacks and crap all day long, well, when you get real food in front of them, they're not going to eat it. So if you let them eat what you're eating and it's normal, like I love to go out for Indian. I love all the flavors and spices and everything. I didn't get her a kid's plate. she ate the, the dal. We ate dosa. We had all the wonderful Indian flavors and food when she was a baby.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't worry about, oh, that's too much for her. Well, what do the Indian kids eat? And what do the little Thai kids eat? Well, do they eat chicken nuggets? No. So I ate tofu dishes. She ate the tofu dish. She ate curry. She had all the wonderful flavors that I had on my plate. So her eating was never any separate than mine. Yeah, she's going to be naturally wanting more of the rice. Okay, well then she can have the rice there. You know what I mean?
She was breastfed, correct? And well, how long? About like 2 years, 1 year?
Oh no, only 6 months. I was working and then I had to pump. So I had to go back to work.
Yeah. And then what did she transition into? And then what next?
Food. Just soft food. Like sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, whatever. Bananas, soft food. It was just not hard.
Nice.
In society, like the TV tells you, you got to go buy all this stuff. After breastfeeding, then you transition to like baby food. I just didn't buy the chicken.
Yeah. Cool.
I thought, you know what I mean? We made it fun. Broccoli was little trees and
Do you think it's important for other people to raise their children vegan?
Oh my God, it would be so great. Children are naturally compassionate little beings. It's important to honor that compassion in them. Just depends on if the parents are willing to take a look at themselves. Well, plus, what animal agriculture does to their world. It's destroying their world. Look what is it, like a pound of hamburger? Something like 6,000 gallons of water or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
How much water, dairy, and all that wastes or pollutes.
Is there anything like in respect to fostering a more peaceful culture or health? Like, is there health advantages potentially that you think?
Fostering a more peaceful culture, peace begins on your plate. That was actually one of the things that I remember learning about was when you're eating all that animal flesh, that animal suffered not only its whole life from systematic abuse that just occurs because of all the stress hormones, the fear. Imagine the fear. They all know what's coming to them. And when you eat in those stress hormones, it's sad. But people are eating all kind of fear, anxiety, sadness. That's what you're eating because, when we feel stress, the animals are the same way. All of that fight or flight is within them too. And they suffer the exact same way we do. So you're eating their suffering and their fear. That's what you're eating. When they're there and they see all the other chickens around, all their chicken friends or what, everybody else that, they know, they can smell it, they know it. All of that fear is running through their body as they're being put through that.
You don't want to subject your child to consuming the product of the fear.
And yes, it affects people's psyche. It does. Do I think everybody should be vegan? Well,
raising their children vegan.
Yes, I raised my own kid vegan. Why, of course, and push my beliefs. It's not a belief. It's the cold hard fact that you don't have to raise children eating animals that have suffered greatly their whole lives. And you just don't have to raise them that way.
Do you think we'll ever see a vegan world?
A vegan world, ooh, goodness. Well, I can see it in my mind.
What does it look like?
I would say the same, but better. We just don't have to have all the animal suffering. The thing is, it's going to be the same because most people, they never saw or they don't see slaughterhouses. Why do you think they're so hidden? I don't want you to see that. That system is hidden. for a very good reason. They don't want you to know about that. So a lot of people don't know about that because you're not seeing slaughterhouses already. The only difference would be that we would have grocery stores without cellophane wrapped body parts. I mean, it's not that vegans are perfect because, I mean, they're just people. And people are just people. And people do stupid things. Vegans can commit crimes too, I guess. I'm not saying there won't be any crime or it's going to be this total utopia. I don't know about that. I mean, that would be something to see. I do find vegans to be slightly more peaceful people. The ones that I know anyway. I don't know of violent vegans. They were there, you know. You're not going to lack for anything. The only thing that you're going to do, that's the only thing that's going to change is we don't have to have animal cruelty blocked from our eyesight.
Prior to going vegan, did you ever feel like there's no way I could do that?
Probably. I think I remember there was this restaurant in New Orleans in the French Quarter called Old Dog Nutrec. And it was a vegan restaurant, a little tiny little hole in the wall, hippie place where all the hippies hung out. And I was not vegan when I went there. I worked in the Quarter growing up, so there was this little joint. And man, they just really had some really great veggie burgers. Loved the way they taste. I didn't really think about anything except it tasted really good, right? And I guess I would just remember there were some people in there who totally didn't eat animals, and I used to think, well, you're weird. Gosh, you're really weird. Like, how weird is that? Like, oh, that lady over there, look how weird she is. She don't eat meat. I'm sure I thought it. And then I became that person. So.
Do you have any regrets?
Of being vegan?
Some people might regret not being a better advocate, or maybe being too loud of an advocate, or not going vegan sooner, or not eating healthy sooner. I can't say I regret not being raised vegan because that wasn't up to me. I wish I was. My parents didn't know any better. Can't really, I mean, they just didn't know any better. Better advocate for the animals? No, I think I've always spoken up as much as I can. Why didn't you go vegan sooner?
Because I didn't know. I had no idea. I really didn't know. And I really was raised to think that that's just the way you eat. You know, you have pepper steak. You have certain recipes that call for certain things like, you know, Hawaiian chicken and pepper steak and all these things I grew up with. So, you know, you got to have steak and potatoes, and you got to have meatballs, and I didn't know any better.
What are your favorite foods to eat right now, or typical things that you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Thai, spice foods. I like Thai. I like the ethnic foods. Ethiopian restaurant, you know, if I'm going out to dinner. Typically, I don't have rules for one. I'll eat anything that does not have animals in it. So typically I eat anything without animals, which is a lot, like a lot. If my daughter fixes a breakfast that she likes, as long as they don't have animals, I'm good. But I don't know if it's, so if I'm on the run, I'll fix myself a smoothie. Or, you know, shoot, man, the ultimate fast food is grab a banana and an apple and go. I mean, you know? Like
routine, like lunch or breakfast kind of thing? Certain categories of foods you typically end up...
Okay, so I like more fruit in the mornings, you know, just because I think it's yummy. But there's no rules for me. I am not a raw vegan or this vegan or that vegan. I'm just the vegan who just doesn't want to have animals in my products or my food. Yeah. I'm just that vegan. It's just, yeah, it's so unlimited. Everything. You could have everything. I love to cook, so I took my typical New Orleans eats like gumbo and then just all the things that I grew up eating, and I just took out the meat. It's about the flavor. It's about that roux, which you can totally make without animal fat. So it just wasn't that hard, you know. have an open mind about things, you can figure it out.
Do you take any supplements?
B12 and sometimes D. In the winter, I will always take D, especially throughout the winter when I'm not getting outside as much. I let off the D a little bit in the summertime because I'm very outside, very outdoorsy. And if I'm out in the sun all day, I just don't feel like I need to take any supplements for that. Not really, no, I'm not a real big supplement person. And I'd say that people not to take them.
Veganism hasn't really held you back from doing any kind of activities, has it?
Big into my bike riding. I love riding my bike. Like hiking. And I'm not talking about just a little trail walk. I like to hike. So over 10 miles kind of thing. and climb mountains. I love Pilates, like big time. But when I was younger, I was always into exercising too. So I love to exercise. I love to get out and do stuff. I mean, anything. I love to scuba dive. I love to ski. But that's not the kind of things I get to do every day. Every day I could ride my bike. Every day I could walk. Oh gosh, I love to walk my dog. And Ursa usually comes on all of our hikes with us.
Do you have a favorite quote or anything you want to share?
I love Paul Watson's quote, "If the oceans die, we die." And that means so much because with animal agriculture here on land, we are killing our oceans.
Tell me a little bit about dead zones.
The dead zone, like off the coast of Louisiana, is caused by animal agriculture because all the pesticides, all the feces, everything, they just put it into the waterways. It gets into the waterways. All those little, subsidiary waterways go into the Mississippi River, and it just comes on down and goes out the mouth of the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico. And we have a great big old dead zone because of all the crap that comes downstream.
How many miles out?
It's different sometimes with currents. The Mississippi River has a mouth. So it goes out into the Gulf of Mexico.
I thought you said something about like 30 miles out or something at one point.
The
dead zone.
Unfortunately, it's really big.
When you say pesticides, people might be thinking, they're not thinking maybe of animal agriculture, right?
Right, but the pesticides on the...
Or fertilizers even.
Wheat, barley, and the things that we feed the animals, and the animals eat way more than we eat. Way more. If we didn't grow all of that food to feed the animals, we could have that land to feed ourselves. We wouldn't have hungry people. But we're giving all the grains to kill them, to the animals, so we can eat their flesh. If the animals are growing on that, we could grow on that. But they use much more pesticides on those crops to feed the animals because there's just so much. It's so massive. And all of that gets in our waterways and comes down, and then it gets dumped into the Gulf of Mexico and creates dead zones. And there's nothing that lives in those areas, nothing. It's totally dead.
Why do you think some people quit?
That's the one that kind of makes me mad. That's my pet peeve. They quit veganism because they've lost their compassion and they got lazy, bottom line. So they just got lazy. Didn't feel like thinking about it anymore, I guess. I guess in their own mind, they have their own reasons, their own justifications. If you get sick from your vegan diet, well, you're eating junk, maybe not a variety of foods. It's just not that difficult. So whenever they say crap like that, I just don't, how can I believe them? I raised a kid vegan. I've been doing this for so long. I just think they're full of shit. That's what I think.
Could you be with somebody who isn't vegan?
That's no way. they ate vegan with me and then went off and, no, because to me that's a core belief. It's not a belief, it's a core value. It's just like I couldn't be with somebody who didn't brush their teeth. To me it's gross. If you just can't have that bottom line core value, because then how could I talk to them? How could I really be intimately connected to somebody who eats meat? Being attracted to somebody starts with my mind first. So, no. You have to have that core value with me, sorry. Is what it is.
But what if a doctor told you you had to eat animals? What would you do?
Well, they have before, and I just laugh.
They have.
I laugh at them. I will laugh in their face. And I would say, well, okay, Mr. Smart Doctor, you ain't, really?
Why
you
did
don't know
they tell
jack
you
shit
that?
is what I would say. Huh?
What were they telling you? Why were they telling you that?
They told me when I was raising my kid. Yeah.
What were they saying?
That you gotta have protein. You gotta have nutrients.
And it was only
And you're gonna miss nutrients. Yeah, you can't, I've had a doctor tell me that you can't.
You can't raise a child vegan.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh my gosh, well, when you're an adult, they can say things, I guess. I've had them say it to me, sure. But I think I literally will laugh at them because it's a joke. And all it just tells me they're ignorant. They literally do not have nutrition. They do not take nutrition, and they're not nutritionists. They maybe take one course in human nutrition. That does not make them an expert. And most of them are unhealthy themselves. I don't see a whole bunch of healthy doctors walking around, for the most part. There's not. Most doctors want to make money off of the people who fuck up their bodies with their diet. It's all they see is, they get to live in the big house. Because people are ignorant about what they put in their body. And they believe the TV, and the TV comes on and says, order that pizza now, we'll deliver it. And they're, it's like they're brainwashed by it.
You have any suggestions on how somebody can get started in the easiest way?
There's so many things online, like, have you seen the vegan starter kit? I think they give it away for free. All you gotta do is send them an email or something, and they just send you this vegan starter kit. So that's kind of cool. All kind of information. Gosh, just online information, it's everywhere. I think, to me, if you want to ask me about the vegan starter kit, go ahead and watch Earthlings. And sit there and watch it. Watch it. Watch Dominion and watch Earthlings. That's going to spark in you the reason. And it's going to spark in you what's really going on, what you don't know. It's going to tell you the truth. When you know the truth, you're going to be motivated to do something. And you got to accept the truth. You got to be willing to really take a good hard look at the truth and know that when you know it, you can change. I just, it's the ones that don't want to look at it, the truth. You ever know anybody who they had a heart attack, whatever, and you tell them the truth, well, change your diet to a plant-based diet, you can reverse your heart disease. And they still won't do it.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but happens all the time.
Is there something you could say to parents to really get them to consider this and encouraging, maybe? Because to me, that's the most important thing, I think what you did is what is the most important thing people could do.
Michaela, come over here and sit down. That's the only thing that
What's the most encouraging thing you could say or do? Have her sit next to you?
Take a look.
Yeah.
There it is. Proof positive. So that's the only thing I could ever say. But believe me, I've had some backfire from that too. Oh, that's just genetics. She's whatever. It's not about what she looks like or the genetic aspect of things. Is that it can be done. Is proof it can be done. I didn't go through all kind of any special education. It's just a few ingredients we did without. She had plenty enough food on her plate, obviously. I mean, you give them enough calories, variety in calories, variety in food that they like. It's just not that hard. I mean, really, it's not rocket science. I figured it out. You got to go with what your kid likes too. I gave her things that she liked, and when she was hungry, I introduced the things I would like her to eat, and then I hid foods. But you know, as a parent, you got to be a little tricky. She went through a real picky stage, you know. And she just wasn't going to sit there and eat mushrooms or eggplant, whatever it was. So I wanted her to have a variety of food, so I figured out ways to fix things. She didn't think it was a mushroom. You know, spaghetti sauce hidden, all kind of vegetables. Oh, the stew. Oh yeah, I used to love to hide things in stew. So it would make like a brown gravy stew that had potatoes and carrots and the vegetables that she was okay with eating. But all the rest of it, there goes that blender again, man. You blend it in and then it's just a brown gravy. Gosh, it's gravy. But it was full of vegetables. So those little tricks. You come up with those kind of things.
Is there anything you could say that might be the most encouraging thing to do this?
It's not rocket science. Mm-hmm. Your kid is going to grow up in a very different world than you grew up in. Pay attention. Pay attention. Look around. Why don't you pay attention and, you know, realize what your kid's future is going to be? What? Full of pollution? We can make a better way. So, let your kid have a better way. Show them a better way. Do your research. Do a few things. Make a few changes. It's really not hard. And you'll find the joy in it. There's a lot of joy in it. You won't do without. Your kid won't do without. It's actually more abundant. Much more abundant. Because your repertoire opens. It's not so wrapped around these few animals that you think you gotta have. So when you're not so focused on, oh my gosh, I gotta have whatever animal, you know, everything else opens up. I mean, there's just thousands and thousands of things to eat that are not animals. But if you're so focused on those 5 or 6 few, you know, how limiting is that? And you're much more unlimited in the way we eat. The flavors are beautiful. They're all there. It's the same flavors that you already know. And then some, much more. It's about having an attitude of abundance, not lack. So it's a much more abundant way of life.